Hello everyone, my name is Angelo and welcome to my channel. As you can see, I'm still kind of tweaking with the lighting a little bit. It's getting a little better, I promise, or maybe not. It's kind of hard for me to tell personally because I'm an amateur. But hey, if you haven't figured it out, this is kind of a gun channel. I do have motorcycle stuff. It's not doing very well, so I'm definitely going to go back to guns. And I'm just trying to make some videos before COVID kind of really kicks in again. We just got news a couple days ago that things are going to start shutting down again, so you guys will see some range time in the future, which I've been kind of working on, so there is that. Alright, so as you can see here, I got two guns in front of me. They're both unloaded. You're going to have to take my word for it. The magazines are right there. Actually, if you want, you can actually see the bullets that are normally in the chamber. They're right here, 1 and 2. So these guns are pretty much a transition of thought for me. So if you don't know what these guns are, on my right this is the FNX9 by FN Herstal, and to my left is the HK P30 SK by HK. So so basically what this is 2 years of ideology kind of forming into what my carry parameters are. So back in 2019 2018 time frame is when I got my license to carry here in the state of Texas. And basically my school of thought, based on the ruling of Texas, is that since printing is not illegal in Texas, as long as I cover the gun and the holster, I am technically concealed carrying. Now you can argue whether or not that's smart, if printing is essentially the same as open carrying and blah 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 blah. It's personal preference. The way I saw it is that most of the time people don't even notice when you get a haircut. They don't notice when you change your shoes, unless you go from some FUBUs to some Jordans, and most of the time they don't even notice like if you get a new tattoo or not. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but I'm fairly heavily tattooed, and still coworkers that I've known for 6 months will look especially at this one and be like, hey, is that new? And I'm like, no, I've had this for over 3 years now. But so just keep in mind that the average individual does not really pay attention. And with that being said, that chances are if you're watching this video, you're one of those people that are actually looking to see if other people are carrying. I do it too. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, it's just more of the curiosity to see what they're carrying than anything else. I'm also one of those guys that, even though it probably looks really bad, I also like to look and see what cops are carrying around in my area. Most of the time it's a SIG 226 or a Glock. So there is that. Anyway, I'm getting off track already, but basically what I'm trying to get at here is that my two different ideologies of thought over the past couple of years. And basically when I first started carrying, I always carried full size. Before this FNX, I carried a full size P320. I carried another full size gun that I can't remember right now. There was another full size gun that I can't remember right now. And the only time I didn't carry full size is when I carried the Shield, which is currently in the safe. And the Shield was mainly for non-permissive carry, or for carrying in places where, for an example, if I went to a liberal friend's house and I wanted to carry my gun but I didn't want to leave it in the car or whatever, like they would never know that I had. I mean, they know that I have it, but it's one of those things where like out of sight, out of mind. And then now I'm in this new position where I kind of found the middle ground with this HKP30, where basically now my new ideology is that instead of carrying a full-size gun all the time, now I just carry a full-size grip. Depending on how you want to think about it, that's essentially the same thing. And I already know one person's going to argue, well, if you're going to carry a full-size grip anyway, why not just carry a full-size gun? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. The first main reason is weight. Believe it or not, this 1 or 2 inches, I think this is, oh, weird. Let me actually get it on camera. So right here is about 2 inches of difference between both guns. Right, that 2 inches is pretty significant, especially seeing in this gun, this is all steel. Those 2 inches, that's all steel, and that's weight. So this gun, even with 15 rounds, this one's I think 18 rounds when, I think it's 17 plus 1. So this one's still slightly bigger anyway. Even with the HKP30, with the shorter barrel and with the 15 round magazine, it is a couple ounces lighter than the FNX. Barely, but it is. And that kind of matters to me now. Also, one thing that I noticed with the FNX is that because of I carry appendix, and because of how long the slide is, the actual point of the gun for the holster, not the gun itself, but the holster itself, would push into my pelvic bone, well, pelvis area, I should say, and it was pretty uncomfortable after a while. With the shorter barrel from the P30 SK, this is no longer an issue. So that's pretty much it when it comes to my ideology, is that now instead of carrying a full-size gun all the time, now I carry a compact gun with a full-size grip. So instead of the usual 10 rounds, as you can see here, I'm carrying a 15-round magazine most of the time. Now when I want to be a little more discreet, like when I go to church, because in Texas you can now carry in a church, I'll use the 10-round magazine, because then that way I still get a full firing, essentially all 3 fingers. I wouldn't say a full firing grip, but at least 3 fingers onto the gun. And then when I'm out walking the dog, I have this one which has a full size grip on it with the Outlaw holster that's chilling right there. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So over the past couple of years, my mentality of carrying a full size gun has changed, but that's because, at least for my parameters, the ideology that I was actually going for was not so much a full size gun, but to have a full firing grip and then also having 15 rounds or more. That's actually the parameter that I wanted. Now with that being said, because of weight and because of the size of the pistols, the HKP30 SK is still harder to shoot because it is a lighter, smaller gun. But there's nothing with practice that can't fix that. Also, another main reason too with the HKP30 is that you can't tell, but it actually has the night sights on it, which is something I would have to modify for the FN and with other carry guns. Now I do plan on picking up a CZP07 at some point. That one is essentially what the HKP30 is supposed to be, but with a defaulted 15 rounds. And yeah, I don't know, maybe, and I think I'm gonna pick up a 75B at some point. At this point, as in my previous CZ versus P30 SK kind of review that I did, the main thing I want to see is that if it was the inverted rails or the steel frame that made me shoot the CZ better. And the P07 is a good start because it has the inverted rails, but it's polymer and not steel. And then I'm going to pick up a 75B, which has both the inverted rails and the steel frame. So with that being said, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below. But I also kind of want to know what your transition was when it came to concealed carry, because I'm assuming if you concealed carried at some point, that this is a transition you went through. Maybe you went the opposite direction. Maybe you went from a Smith & Wesson Shield, which is a subcompact or a micro compact, depending on what you consider a micro compact, and then you went full size. Or maybe you started with a 1911 but then started going down to a polymer, and now you carry a Glock 17 but you're still carrying a full size gun. I would like to know what you guys are doing when it comes to carrying your firearms. Like I said, for me, the ideology of carrying 15 rounds or more is still there, except for times when I cannot, like at church or when I'm doing non-permissive carry. And the only other time, and then every other time other than that, I'm always carrying a full-size gun anyway, which is when I'm walking my dog. But yeah, so day to day is this gun with 15 rounds, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I would like to know what you guys do. I know some people probably just rock a shield and call it a day, but for me that's a little small. If you like the video, hit like. If you dislike the video, hit dislike. Go ahead and subscribe, share, all that jazz, and I'll see y'all in the next one.